All right, welcome back to another episode of Fogdog and Basten. It's been a pretty kind of hectic couple of weeks. Actually, honestly, getting on for a month now. Our last episode was pretty much bang on 4 weeks ago. We just kind of come off Basten running 3:56.1 for the mile, me running a 7:51 3K, and kind of a lot has gone on over the last kind of 4 weeks. How you been going, Basten?
I've been going good. I guess it's just been so busy. We haven't really had a time to film with just everything that's been going on. But yeah, we should dive into it and get into, first of all, conference, which seems like ages ago. I feel like I barely even remember it, but we should mention it. So yeah, how did conference go?
You've probably just blanked it out. That's why you can't remember it. Bad memories for you. But no, only joking. That's what some people would probably think though. But yeah, so pretty much a month ago now, which is kind of crazy. Like this month has just been so full on. It's been packed. It's kind of flown by. But yeah, a month ago, we headed to Chicago. We had our indoor Missouri Valley Conference, pretty strong conference. We had our conference championships. And obviously conference is usually kind of a chance for, your team to come together and really try and, bring back a conference championship. And that's what we were aiming to do as a team. But for me individually, as we kind of touched on in the last episode, I really felt like I needed to chase a national qualifying time for the mile. Obviously, for anyone who knows, in hindsight, I probably didn't have to go after it just because I got super lucky. But yeah, so we went there. We were both in the mile. Basten, you were in the distance medley relay, 1600 as well.
Yep.
And yeah, so just kind of long story short, we were in separate mile prelims. We both won our prelims, 4:13 for me, 4:15 for Basten. Both felt good, new PRs. And yeah, anyway, the final was the next day. Yeah, I guess just to let you kind of touch on it a little bit, what was kind of the plan? How were you feeling going into it?
I had already had my national qualifier seemingly out of the way because I ran 3:56.1 at Arkansas the previous week. I was sitting at 16th in the nation. I felt pretty comfortable. I knew like the only two big names that hadn't really ran a time yet were Reed and Urian. And even if both of them ran the time, I would still be at 18th. And just knowing the guys that are in it, knowing the NAU boys would scratch, I had a feeling I'd be fine. And I turned out right. But so really going into conference, my goal was to score as many points as possible while using as little energy as possible. And I accomplished one of those two things. I really didn't use much energy, but sorry, Drake, for scoring 0 points for the Bulldogs at conference.
The distance medley relay surely scored some sort of points. Did you not? What did you come?
I think we were like fifth.
Okay, well there you go. Yeah, you get a split of a point or something. Yeah.
Maybe divided by 4, I got like a half a point. Yeah. I did something, but so I ran 3 miles at conference. Shocker. Ran 9 miles over the course of this year, if you count that 1600 the DMR, which is absolutely ridiculous. But I like what he said. I didn't pace in the prelim, ran 4:15, just easily got into the final, which I got the coolest picture that's ever been taken of me before. Yeah. In that mile. That was so sick.
That was cool.
Check it out on my Instagram if you haven't seen it, but it is so cool. Definitely the coolest running photo that's ever been taken of me. I kind of felt like a pro there.
It was really cool because I remember when you posted that, obviously, it was straight after conference and you're like cruising along at the front and all these people are there behind you, like really working pretty hard to try and qualify for the final. But it was funny. You mentioned Reed Brown and Jack Urian, obviously 2 Oregon kind of big dogs now. We were on our way to conference for the prelims. I think I was at number 24 in the country. You were at number 16. So you were pretty locked in. Like if you're in the top kind of 20, you're always pretty safe. Obviously only 16 go, but there's always a few scratches with people doing different events. But yeah, we were on our way to the prelims and we had it up on Flow Track. They were racing in Boston, Reed Brown and Jack Urian, and they both ran 3:54. So my mindset kind of went from like, oh, I'm at number 24, like I'm unlikely to get into, oh God, like I'm down to number 26. Like I'm out unless I can get through to the final. And then tomorrow in the final at conference, I can run 355 something, 356, very low. But yeah, anyway, so we got through our prelims. The next day we turned up at the track. It was all planned out. Basten was pacing me, which is kind of weird for a championship style race, but it was kind of what we decided needed to be done. So, yeah, we lined up. The race got going. We went out pretty hard. It worked out pretty perfectly early on. Basten took the lead. We got kind of out in front of the field. There was no kind of pushing or shoving. It just worked perfectly early on. I tucked in behind. And yeah, we kind of got rolling. I think we were 158 through 809. So we were bang on through kind of halfway. And then Basten, you got to the K?
I got to the K in 2:29. So that last lap was a little bit slow. And that's when I realized I was not feeling good. So I pulled to the side. I really jogged after that.
Yeah.
My last 3 laps were averaging 40. But anyway, this race wasn't about me. I finished dead last in it. But hey, discuss what happened to you in the last 3 laps and where you finished.
Yeah. So I went through the 1009 in 2:29.0. So I knew that I was going to have to close pretty hard on my own to run something pretty quick that I thought would get me into NCAAs. Yeah, I was really aiming for 356 low, 355 high. I thought I honestly did think on a great day, something like 354 high wasn't out of reach. As silly as that might sound, but yeah, when Basten kind of pulled off, I really tried to, put my foot down and keep the pace honest. Yeah, so I kept it going, kept it rolling, and it was pretty hard on my own out there. And I really pushed it all the way through the line, and I ran 356.89. So I won by 10 seconds, new meet record at conference, but immediately, like, I didn't really care about, getting the win. Obviously it's good for the team, good to get some points for Drake, but it was kind of a bit of a bittersweet moment, kind of crossing the line, looking up at the scoreboard and seeing 356.89 come up on the board. Just because I thought for sure then that I was out of nationals, and I really felt like I had a bit more in the tank. I felt like I deserved to be in that kind of 16 guys who were going to nationals. So it was a little bit disappointing. But anyway, as you'll find out in a minute or two, we'll kind of touch on it. It all, I guess, worked out in the end. But it was pretty funny because after that race, obviously Basten really jogged the last 3 laps when he kind of stopped pacing me. And I think a few people on, I don't know, Twitter, maybe even Let's Run were kind of, maybe not Let's Run, but at least on Twitter, were a little bit maybe worried or kind of questioning the form of Basten, and kind of were a little bit surprised that he came last at conference and ran 4:28. But yeah, I mean, you kind of shut them down, I guess.
Yeah. I feel like out of all of us runners that have proven that we're elite, I get the least respect out of all of them on a pretty consistent basis. Like whenever I do something wrong, everyone talks about it. And then whenever anybody else does anything wrong, everyone shuts their big fat mouths. But yeah, a lot of people were saying that I wouldn't say a lot, but there were definitely people saying that I was out of form. Like, what is happening with Isaac Basten? Like, concerns going into nationals. And obviously I definitely at least partially proved them wrong in that first round. But yeah, I mean, if you're watching that race or if you're looking at live splits, I don't know how you could think that I was doing anything but pacing. Like,
yeah, I mean, it was pretty obvious. It was really
pretty obvious. Yeah. But it doesn't really matter what anybody else thinks. It happened. And yeah, kind of leading into the next week, we got back and Foggy and I are just going on a 8-mile easy jog. We're actually kind of both talking about like how unmotivating it is to go on a run, like not knowing whether or not this run is at all meaningful, because like we're thinking, are we even in? Like, what's the point of doing this if we're not in? Like, anyway, our minds are just going crazy, and we get back from the run and we know something's up with Jay, who's standing outside ready to talk to us. So yeah, take that away. What was that experience like for you? And
yeah, so obviously just to quickly kind of reiterate what was kind of going on at the time. So on our bus ride back from conference, I was still at number 26. Obviously I didn't improve on my time, and we were looking through the list kind of going, he could scratch. There's no way he scratches, like all the way through. And we worked it out. Like I needed everything in the world to go my way for me to get in. We knew that it was very unlikely, but at the same time, we knew there was a very, very slim possibility that I would get in because of people scratching. And yeah, so anyway, we were on this 8-mile run. We weren't actually finished, but Jay was standing outside like our locker room. And we kind of ran past it, and Jay said, "Oh, I need to talk to you boys." He kind of seemed fairly casual, like nothing kind of big was going on. It was just like, "Yeah, I need to have a chat with you boys. Can you finish your run?" And I was like, "Oh, we're nearly 8 miles. We'll run out and back. We'll be back in like 2 minutes." And on that 2-minute jog, we were like, "Oh, I wonder if he's got like an early announcement of, who's going to nationals." And then it was kind of like, "Oh, wouldn't it be nice?" But there's no way. Like it was meant to be coming out that night at like 9 p.m. and it was like 4 p.m. We were like, there's just no way.
Yeah.
So anyway, we get back, and Jay's there standing outside the locker room still. And he comes up to us. He's looking down at his phone, and I thought I could see the list there. But he kind of looked at us, kind of looking a little bit sad-ish almost. He was like, "Yeah, what are your plans for spring break, boys? Like, what's going on? You're going to Colorado?" And I was like, yeah, we're off to Colorado, like whatever. And I could see he had the list. So I was like, you've got the list, haven't you? Like, I'm out, aren't I? And I really did still think I was, but then it kind of changed, and I was like, oh my God, why would he be doing this if we weren't both in?
Yeah.
And then he kind of looked up. He's like, "Well, you're going to have to cancel your plans. You're going to Alabama." And it was just like the maddest moment for both of us. Obviously, we were pretty confident in Basten being in.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was good.
It was just crazy because, I mean, it wasn't like we were positive you were out or anything, but it was almost like the first like minute afterwards, I was just sitting there like,
yeah, like what has happened?
Like, you've got to be like, this is sick. You got to be kidding.
Crazy.
Like, I don't know. It was obvious. It's just so much more fun to go with the teammate and to find out that he was into it was pretty sick. It was pretty crazy. Like, I mean, he was like jumping up and down in shock, and I was just like, I was so hyped too. But
like, how has that possibly happened?
Yeah.
And I got Jay's phone and I double checked the list because I was like, there's surely no way. Like, he's got to have made a mistake.
You counted it like 3 times.
Yeah. I kept trying to count, and then I kept just like getting distracted and being like, oh, this is sick. But I was counting through, and when we got down to number like 20, there was only 5 scratches in front of me. So I was still out. But then 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25 all scratched. So shout out to those boys. Shout out to the boys who scratched in front of me. I had 10 scratches for me to get through to NCAA indoors. And yeah, it was pretty sick. So then for the next kind of week and a half, we trained, got ready for nationals indoor. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. But Basten, you can kind of touch on your week first. I think how when you knew it was then official, how did you approach that final week of training? Because when we found out, it was Tuesday and national prelims were the following Friday. So what, 10 days later? How were you feeling?
I was feeling really good going into it, especially after seeing the list and seeing that Yard scratched. He was the big name he was the biggest name that I was really hoping would scratch, because I knew if Yard scratched, this was anyone's race, really. And honestly, looking back, I think even if Yard would have ran it, I don't even know if he would have won it.
Yeah.
But because
I don't know what,
something's going on with him. But anyway, like, I was just hyped because I knew like that both of us we had a chance to win this thing. Like even I was coming in like as the 11th or 12th seed or something, and you were the 16th seed. Like seeding doesn't really matter at nationals. Like some people had better opportunities to run faster times than others. And like, I really thought I could win it. And so just my mindset, I was trying to switch my mindset from like, hey, it's just going to be fun to make the final to, hey, this time I want to actually win it. And I think looking back, I did an okay job of that. But either way, like just training going into the week, I was like just mentally preparing myself for that day so that like when it happened, I wouldn't be too scared. I wouldn't be like, it wouldn't feel like anything was out of the ordinary, I guess.
Yeah. No, definitely. I think you approach it pretty well. Like it's just at the end of the day, even though it is nationals, it's only another race. You know, we race in from time to time super high quality races, and you go into them just racing them to win. So at the end of the day, it's nothing really too different to that. So it's a pretty good mindset to have. For me, like it was a bit of a different kind of approach. That day we found out we were going to nationals, I had a little bit of a sore throat, but I thought it was just from racing indoor the day before, because you get a little bit kind of, I don't know, dry air, you get a cough like from working hard on an indoor track. So I still had a tiny little bit of a lingering sore throat and cough. That was on the Tuesday. And then on the Wednesday, we had a 10-mile run. We were running like 7:05s maybe per mile, 4:25 per K for 10 miles. And the whole way through, I was in a pretty bad way. Like I was struggling to keep up, to be honest. I felt like I was developing a little bit of a fever. Got back to the locker room after and kind of just sat there for like a good few minutes. Jay came in, our coach, and was like, "You all right?" And I actually said to him at that point, I feel pretty bad. I knew that I was coming down with something. And then, the next day I was in a pretty bad way still. Fever, chills, cough, sore throat, banging headache as well, which was probably the most annoying thing, to be honest. And then, so I had Thursday completely off. Friday, I kind of shuffled through like a 3-mile jog, super slow. And then come Saturday, I was starting to kind of improve a little bit. And I did a few 200s with Jay just to kind of like feel out running a little bit quicker again, just because we were on a pretty tight schedule. Like that was 6 days before my national prelim. I was kind of like, if I'm going to race, like I need to just get through this week and, do my best to race as well as I can. So with that in mind, I thought, doing a few 200s will get my legs back under me. Even if they don't feel great, I've still got 6 days. Like I'm going to be good. And over the next few days, like I completely improved. I felt pretty much completely normal traveling to Atlanta, Georgia on the Tuesday. We flew like 3 days before our race. I was feeling pretty good. We went to Birmingham, Alabama, got a few good strides in, had some good easy running, and I felt pretty much completely back to normal. Obviously for anyone who saw the result of the National Mile Prelim, it didn't quite go my way. How were you feeling going into that? And obviously for anyone who saw, it was pretty good day. Yeah,
I felt pretty normal. Doing strides the day before, I was really worried because that track had no bank to it.
It honestly is like a flat track. It was really, like, not completely, but it's pretty flat.
Literally half the bank that the other tracks we've been on this year had anyway. And so I thought, I was like, man, these times are going to be pretty slow all around, but we'll see how kicking is going to be on this track, because I like to move wide. I like to move around people. And obviously, like for people that know, an indoor track's only 200 meters, so you don't have as much time to move around. So generally some of your move has to be made on the bend. And I was like, man, it's going to be tough to make moves around these bends when there's no bank.
Yeah.
And so luckily it ended up working out. But I guess going into the prelim, we saw what heat we'd be in. By the way, NCAA, you took way too long to come out with the heats. It was ridiculous.
They did. When did we find out? So we were in Atlanta the Tuesday night. We got in. Wednesday, we had an easy jog in Atlanta, and then we drove to Alabama.
Yep.
And then did we find out that evening?
I think so.
Yeah. So literally like what? a day and a half out.
Yeah, we found out a day and a half before our prelim who we'd be racing against when they had the sheets out for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like, what were they doing? Just sitting there?
Yeah.
Like, unbelievable.
I feel like that's the case for a lot of competitions. You know, you only kind of find out who you're definitely going to be racing like 1 or 2 days out. But
yeah,
for me last year indoor, I found out like a week out, maybe like 4 or 5 days. Like it was plenty of time to kind of work out, you know, this is probably going to be the slow heat. You know, I knew that Cole Hocker and Reed Brown were in heat 1 and I was in heat 2. Like you kind of get to mentally kind of think about what you're going to do. But yeah, anyway, go on.
So when the heat sheets came out, we knew basically whatever heat Beetlescomb was in was going to be the fast heat.
Yeah.
Because he's a 352 guy and he's a guy that doesn't tend to rely on his kick. So we thought, yeah, he's just going to front run and make the heat fast as hell to get himself through, which makes sense.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what ended up happening. Fogg and I were both in heat 1 with Morgan Beetlescomb, which I think both of us thought was kind of the ideal scenario.
Yeah.
Until we saw everyone else who was in our heat. We realized, man, there are no bad runners in this heat.
Yeah.
Like
genuinely,
like every single guy on that list, we were like, man, these are all guys that I was worried about racing in.
Yeah.
They're all in our heat. So
yeah, I think the way they seed it, they definitely do take the top guy heat 1, then the next 2 heat 2, the next 2 heat 1, the next 2 heat 2, and so on. Until you get down to number 16, me, and I'm in heat 1 as well. So top seed, bottom seed go into heat 1, and then it's just in 2s for the rest of it.
Yep.
And so it is technically fairly seeded. You know, it's relatively random. It all just kind of depends on where you're ranked. But yeah, looking at it, I mean, a few of the guys in heat 2, it kind of felt like, you know, we knew that one of them had been injured throughout the season. It was like kind of in question if he'd even be at nationals. Another one was an altitude qualifier.
You know how we feel about those if you've been watching our podcast.
Obviously everyone at nationals is a good runner, and I feel like I can't even really talk. Like I went in number 16, but our heat was so strong. It was just like, obviously we didn't have Mario who ended up winning overall, but we had just so many really, really solid guys. So it was going to be, you know, a dogfight to get in that top 4 and qualify for the final. So anyway, as Basten was saying, the race was pretty quick. For me, my race, like I planned on tucking in somewhere kind of mid-pack, maybe anywhere from 3rd to 6th on a good day. Just try and tuck in, get in lane 1. If it's going to be quick, just hang in there. And then from, I don't know, 400 or 500 out, depending on what's going on in the race, kind of close hard and be in that top 4. Kind of went pretty much as badly as it possibly could have done. I couldn't get in lane 1. Looking back at the video, like, I don't know if I honestly don't even really know if I blame myself, but I'm sure there are a few things tactically I could have done a lot better. I probably did make a few silly moves to try and get into lane 1, and it just never worked out. So I ended up kind of just stuck out wide, running along, not really knowing what I was doing. Didn't feel great. And yeah, I ended up coming 7th out of 8 in our heat, 4:01, missed out on the final. Interestingly, like, obviously everyone has good and bad days. And one guy who we thought was going to be a real threat in the final, he's a 147, 800 runner, 355 miler.
Yep.
Matt Piamps, he came 8th behind me. He ran 4:05. And it's like, it just goes to show, you know, in running, it's such a cutthroat sport. Everyone can, on any given day, have a great day. And then for some people on, you know, the biggest stage at nationals, it doesn't go according to plan. So
yep.
Basten, you cruised through 3rd place. You felt good?
Yeah, I did. I really felt good. And coming off of worrying about our heat, I mean, I had a list of 5 guys after the national fields came out. I had a list of 5 guys that I wanted in my heat. Only one of those 5 ended up being in my heat.
Was it me?
No, it was not. I'm not going to disclose who those people are, because I have respect for everybody that was in that race. But, there were a list of 5 guys that I thought I could beat. only one of them was in our heat, which I was like, this is the unluckiest crap ever.
Yeah.
And I still made it through. I got third, lost to two great Big Ten runners in Beetle Skim and Jonathan Davis. But going into the final, my mindset kind of switched right away because I was like, man, I felt like I didn't have to go all out in this race. I didn't have to lead for a single step. I ran through the back the whole way like I always do, moved up into third the last lap and just kind of cruised it in. I thought, man, I'm going to win this thing. I'm going to win this thing. And I had myself convinced that I was going to win the night before and the entire day of. Like, I mean, you saw the way I was talking to you in the car, the way I was talking to everyone in the car. I really thought I was going to win.
Yeah.
And going into it, I was hoping that it would become a jog, and I was right. It did become a jog.
Yeah.
I didn't predict it would, but I was hoping it would.
I couldn't believe it.
I couldn't believe it either.
Because like we say, Beetle Skim, obviously he's a 352 runner, but like we were fully thinking he wouldn't be able to close hard. So he would, and obviously he's a 352 guy. Like at the end of the day, you've got to have a little bit of speed to run 352. But we thought compared to other people, he's not going to win in a 400 race. Yeah. So we were thinking he would for sure take it out hard. And I remember just sitting in the stands watching. I was actually sat next to an Under Armour coach, an agent. I was just having a chat to him. And then this guy from On as well, just kind of talking to them, saying like, we all agreed that it would probably be pretty quick. And I couldn't believe it. You went out in what, 2:11 through 800, 2:10 maybe?
Sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah. Like just
stupid slow.
So pedestrian.
I literally remember with 800 to go, I think a lot of runners have this like natural cockiness to them, especially during races. Yeah. They always believe that in the middle of the race, they're going to win it. Yeah. And I think that's like what a lot of us elite runners share in common, including Fogg sitting next to me. But I was like, man, these guys are idiots. Like, what are they doing? They're letting me win this race. Yeah. Like, that's what I was thinking in the middle of it. Yeah. And oh man, I have so many regrets about that last 800. I feel like I did everything that I shouldn't have done. Worst case scenario, I ran it like an absolute clown. And I mean, that's why I got fifth. There ended up being 6 guys that were in that like top pack in the last lap. And I got fifth of those 6, which demonstrates how bad I was tactically, especially when I felt like I had the best speed in the entire field. And I just really didn't utilize that. But I think like looking back on it, I ended up closing with the fastest 400, but I didn't put myself in position to win that race with 2 laps to go. Yeah. And I think in a fast race, I can do that because it's easy to move around when the race is strung out. Yeah. But in a slow race, when everyone's in that huge pack, like 3 deep, I can't put myself in the back because you can't move around those 3 people on a 200 flat track. Yeah. When there is no bank. So yeah, I mean, it's just, looking back on it, I wasn't thinking and I should have been thinking, but I came away with the 5th place and I can't be mad about that, but I can be kind of mad about that. Yeah. Being 5th in that field, I think is like a result you can definitely be pretty happy with. I know obviously you wanted to win, thought you could win, probably on any given day could have got the win. I think like it was, as you said, it was just so bunched up. Like I was watching and I think with maybe 400-500 to go, it was like starting to speed up. You're obviously still at the back where you're like pretty happy kind of cruising along. Yeah. But you then tried to move up and I remember seeing you really try and make a move in the back straight and it didn't quite work out. You couldn't get around. I think it was a Texas guy, Creighton Carrozza. Mm-hmm. And you made a move, you couldn't tuck back in and you ended up at the back again, I think. And it's like, I think around there, if you could have got up and moved your way up a little bit more, you probably could have found yourself a little bit higher up than 5th, but 5th is not to be sniffed at. I think 5th in that field, deepest mile field ever. Video coming out today, actually on the Fogdog exclusive. It's a pretty strong result, something you can be pretty happy with and going into outdoor. I think it's going to be a pretty entertaining outdoor 1500 final. Hopefully we'll both be in there. We'll see what happens. The plan is to try and run a regional qualifier in the 1500 in a few weeks.
But yeah, anything else you want to say about nationals? You got any people you want to call out or anything?
No, not really. It was bittersweet. It's good to finally get a trophy in that final and not, because I don't want to be known as the kid that gets to finals and gets last. That's not a good feeling.
Yeah.
So getting fifth and getting a trophy is definitely something that I can be proud of. But now my mindset's really changed for outdoor. Now it's like win or bust, and like that's just the way my mindset has to change at this point, because I don't want that to happen again. I don't want to finish a final knowing that I could have done more like that. That's the part that makes me mad. It's like, I didn't even like end up really making a move during that race, because I felt like I just never, every time I tried to, I was cut off, or I didn't have the room to. And like I ended up finishing that race like with 100% energy. And I'm like, well, that was dumb. Like I felt like I just did a workout.
Yeah.
Like it's just annoying. So like next time I make a final, hopefully it happens again in the future, whether it's at conference or nationals.
Conference, you probably choke.
Yeah, conference I'll probably choke and get last, but really it's like I just want to work. I want to give 100% effort so that I have no regrets about it, because I feel like I do have regrets about that national final. But yeah, I guess going forward, that's what I know. Yep.
And going forward from nationals, we had a pretty interesting kind of couple days. Basically we ended up going straight from nationals straight off to Colorado for our week of spring break, which we're now back from, obviously, hence the fact that we're filming a podcast. We've just been kind of away for so long. I think we were away, like 13 nights or something from when we left for nationals to when we got back from spring break. So it was kind of hectic. But yeah, we had a great time. We stayed. It was funny because we were meant to be staying in Boulder, and the day of the national final, obviously I wasn't in it. So the boys back at Drake, they called me the morning of the national final, Basten's national final, and said, our Airbnb's been cancelled. Like, what are we going to do? And I was so excited to go to Colorado, and I was like, I don't know, get something rebooked. They were already trying to rebook something. And yeah, we ended up with a place in Denver. But it was kind of like, just don't tell Basten for now. He's got a lot to kind of focus on for the day. And yeah, thankfully the boys back at Drake ended up sorting out an Airbnb in Denver.
Yeah.
I think it worked out well, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it worked out really well. Like the place that we originally slated to have, didn't it only have like 3 bedrooms?
Yeah. So it was going to be 10 or 11 guys and 3 beds.
Yeah.
Like that would have been pretty exciting. Pretty cozy. Yeah. So yeah, I think it ended up kind of panning out pretty well. It would have been cool to have been kind of staying in Boulder properly, just because I feel like there's a bit more going on there. Kind of
more to do, I guess.
Yeah. Decent running there. But Denver was pretty good. And the Airbnb we had, there will be a video coming out on the Fogdog actually. I still need to edit that one, but
it was nice.
It was really good.
Yeah, it was really nice.
Everyone had a bed. There was like 2 living rooms, really, 2 floors. Like it was good. It was good fun. It worked out really well. So thank you to the first Airbnb for canceling on us. I'm very grateful that you did. It was a week of fun and a week of good sleeps, and I had a great time. So yeah, while we were there, we were lucky enough to feature on the Coffee Club podcast with Morgan McDonald. Obviously Ollie and Geordie were in Europe for World Indoors, but it was good fun.
It was super fun meeting a runner like that who has accomplished everything that he has. And man, he was super humble. Yeah. Like you would just think he's an average person walking around the street.
Yeah. No, it was good.
Yeah.
It was cool because
so cool.
That morning we went on like a 10 mile run. Some of the boys did 12, but we met up with the on group.
Those girls are so fast, man.
Yeah. Oh, we were.
those girls were dropping us on the on team. That was so impressive.
They really were. Sage and Carmela. We were struggling. That was my first run back actually. So I had like a 2 or 3 day break after nationals. Then that was my first run back. We met up with the on group. I think we were struggling with our stomachs, to be honest. Like,
yeah,
we towards the end of that run, like the last 2 or 3 miles, it was kind of like, just get through this and we can, relax and go to the toilet after. But
we were originally gonna do 12, but that ended pretty quickly.
Some of the boys did do 12 about,
I
don't know what, 6 or 7 miles in. We both kind of decided that
we made a business decision.
10 miles. Yeah. And it was one of the smartest business decisions we've ever made, I think. So we ended up doing 10 miles. We then went for breakfast after, which was really cool. We just were hanging out with Morgan, Carmela, and Sage. And then a few of the Drake guys as well. And then, we got on the podcast with Chicken Boy Morgs, which was cool. So if you haven't seen that, go and check it out. Obviously, our podcast is nowhere near as big as theirs, but if you're interested in podcasts, go and have a look at Coffee Club if you haven't already. And then, a few days after that, we ran with Reed Fisher, pretty like famous Drake alumni. He's probably like the most well-known runner to come from Drake. I feel like so many people, I don't know about that. It's so many people know Reed Fisher. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was good. We did another 10 miles, I think.
Yeah.
Just with Reed, who runs for Tin Man Elite.
That run went way better than, at least not like people wise, but I felt so much better during that run.
Same.
I feel like we'd finally whipped ourselves back into shape at that point. Well, not really, but I don't know. It just went better, I guess.
It was a much more enjoyable overall, based on like how we felt. Maybe we were getting used to the altitude. I don't know. I never really feel like too much straight away from the altitude until the next day after that, I think. We did a workout. It was our only workout while we were in Colorado. We did a fartlek workout, and it was 10 by 2 minutes on with a 2-minute jog in between the reps. How did you find that? Do you feel the altitude?
I did. I felt it more in the recovery than I did during the reps. Like, I would say it just took my body, like, because we did 2 on, 2 off, like 2 minutes on, 2 minutes off. And during those 2 minutes off, I felt like my body really wasn't recovering as quickly as it would at sea level.
Yeah.
But I felt really good during the pickups itself.
Yeah.
So
I felt okay. Towards the end, I found it pretty tough, but no, it was a solid workout, and now we're back at Drake. We had a solid enough tempo workout the other day. I'm still kind of struggling a little bit, I think.
Solid enough.
We're getting back, and we're getting ready to race hard outdoor. And I think we'll both be in pretty good shape come opening up for the outdoor season. Speaking of, what's the plan?
Brian Clay, baby. Brian Clay is the plan. I don't know who's racing there yet, but I mean, obviously Fogg and I's goal is to win or to go 1-2, really.
Yeah.
Whatever order that's in. And then
just like we did at Nationals. Yeah,
just like our prediction. But no, the goal will be to go 1-2, and the goal will be to get regional qualifiers out of the way. I mean, it's outdoor is a little bit longer than indoor.
Yeah.
So it's less stressful, like throughout the course of the season, like getting qualifiers, especially since 48 in each region make it as well. There's just more room for error. And so like our goal right away is just, hey, let's just get this qualifier out of the way so that we can finally just like have a little bit of fun, like finally run different events, like branch out. Like I've said it for a while. I want to do 800, and he wants to do a 5K.
Yeah.
And maybe, who knows, maybe we'll do a steeple. But just try something new.
I don't know
I guess.
about that.
Yeah.
But no, it should be good. I like with indoor, it's so cutthroat. Obviously, we both ended up qualifying. But only 16 guys qualify for nationals. Obviously, outdoor only 24 go, so it's only another 8 guys. But the actual process of qualifying is so much more kind of lenient, I would say. 48 guys in the West and 48 guys in the East. So 96 guys all up go to regionals. And from that, 24 go on to nationals. So 12 from the West and 12 from the East. So yeah, hopefully at Brian Clay, we can, knock off time under 3:41 to be safe.
Maybe you'll take 3:35.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, who knows with the NCAA this year, but honestly, if we run something under 3:41, I would say we're pretty safe. I really do want to go a lot quicker than that. I think we're both capable of going a lot quicker than that.
Yeah.
Especially based on indoor. Yep. And like I've been saying to you, Basten, for the last kind of few days now, I've been kind of, I guess, like overthinking it a little bit maybe, but I'm kind of like, this is almost definitely my final collegiate season. I really want to run quick and I want to do well in big races. So, if we can run something like 3:36, I would be more than happy to run 3:36.
Yeah. Another thing that's on my mind is breaking 3:37.5 is the qualifier for the US trials. And I want to run a US trials this year. I just feel like that'd be a great experience for me. Another great resume builder. And like just to continue to branch out into the professionals scheme of things for whether that ends this year, next year, 5 years in the future.
This year?
But I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, it'd just be fun to, continue to go to big races.
Yeah, no, for sure. After Brian Clay, we've got Drake Relays coming up, and then we'll have, conference regionals, hopefully, and then hopefully nationals as well. Oregon round 2 outdoor this year. So hopefully we both qualify.
Yeah. Hopefully I score points at conference this outdoor season.
Yeah, true. Wow. Good times.
It's been a while.
It has. It actually has. I guess cross country. You got a good 10 points or whatever it is. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's been good. Been a hectic few weeks, but we're back and we're ready for outdoor. So I think we've covered most of what we were planning on covering.
Yeah, I think we're pretty good.
So yeah,
I think in the next couple of weeks we'll probably get a guest on.
Yes. We don't know who yet.
We got a couple.
We've been talking about a couple of people, but we haven't messaged them yet.
Yeah. I think we got someone good.
Yeah. We should do. So
yeah.
Stay tuned for that. Hopefully it won't be another 4 weeks until the next episode. I don't think it will be.
Definitely not.
Now that we're back.
It's kind of the time of the year where we have time on our hands again.
Yeah.
Like back to normal. So
that is crazy, actually, not to drag this out, but like the last 3 or 4 weeks, I feel like I've just had so much going on, trying to run fast at conference and then qualifying for nationals, being sick, going straight to Colorado, and now here we are. And it's like, I'm doing 3 classes right now.
Midterms as well.
Oh,
I mean, maybe
technically,
for
yeah.
Me, I had 3 midterms.
Yeah.
Brutal.
I'm in 3 classes right now, and one of them's like pretty easy, really. It's like not even a class.
Your professor's gonna watch this and
kick me out, give me a bad grade. But no, it's good to be back at Drake. It's good to kind of get settled back in, and kind of just take a deep breath and reset for the outdoor season. So yeah,
cool.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, whether you're on YouTube or Spotify. We appreciate you taking the time to be here, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.